So the QiYuan S2 isn't actually that recently released, but it's still relatively recently released and worth reviewing, I think. So it comes in at £7, which puts it on par with the meilong 4x4, which is the only real comparison for the price range. However, it's quite different to the meilong in that it weighs significantly more at 119 as opposed to just 100 grams, 101 I suppose, but less than the QiYi MS, which weighs 133 grams, but that's probably simply down to the magnets. Now, as for sizing, it's basically 61.5 millimeters, I would say. It says 61.5 there, which is quite a lot more than the meilong, which is just 59. So there is that to consider. But in terms of performance, it's pretty smooth for a non-magnetic 4x4. It's not too fast. I would say it's slightly slower than the meilong. The meilong it turns quite fast, whereas the QiYi MS is just a bit slower but more stable and smoother, I would say, and just doesn't look up as much, despite the fact that its corner cutting really isn't that great actually. It can do like maybe 25 degrees, certainly nowhere near the 45 degrees you can get with top of the range 4x4s these days, and then 2 layers is even less. So it isn't actually that great in terms of corner cutting, but somehow it just manages to stay relatively stable during solves if you're not a really rough turner, I'd say. So in terms of comparison to the meilong, I would say unless you want a smaller 4x4, if you're happy with the 62mm size, I would recommend getting the QiYuan S2, simply because, I mean, I'm just getting better times on it, and I think that's just because it's more stable and smoother, and despite it being slightly slower than the meilong, lubrication can help to address that, and even without lubrication, I think the QiYuan S2 is a bit better than the meilong if you're able to deal with the extra size and weight. Compared to the QiYi MS, the QiYi MS is inevitably better for that £4 extra. Feels somewhat similar actually when you think about it, but is looser out of the box, so might be worth loosening the tensions on this a bit, but I don't know what difference that will make. It might just make it a bit unstable, and it's nice and stable at the moment. So in terms of the mechanism, you can see here it is a nigh-on complete replica of the QiYi MS. You can see the piece here is basically the exact same. The only difference is this has magnets, that one doesn't. As for these pieces, the only difference is the QiYi MS has a cap design, although I suspect getting that cap off is going to be difficult. And the corner, same mechanism, but this comes right into the core. I don't know what difference that will make, but I mean, it's just worth pointing out. Swap the pieces round and I'm sure it will perform just like as if I hadn't done that. Now, it's worth pointing out I have had to loosen the tensions of this to get the pieces out, so this side's going to be looser anyway, but you can see here that nothing's changed. It is just the same. So the QiYuan S2 is essentially a non-magnetic QiYi MS 4x4. So if you like the QiYi MS 4x4 and want something non-magnetic, the QiYuan S2 is fine. If you think the QiYi MS 4x4 is nice option for you but can't afford it, then the QiYuan S2 is the non-magnetic version. Why don't you get some magnets to go with it? Oh wait, that would actually cost the same, wouldn't it? Yeah, maybe not a good idea. But The other difference is that the colour scheme is slightly different and the plastic feel is slightly different. So this has the standard QiYi matte plastic finish, whereas a QiYi MS has a bit of a more polished feel. And it goes without saying that there is a slightly different colour scheme on the QiYi Ultra Budget line. I don't know why they do that. It's just a bit weird, really, that they have different colour schemes on their Ultra Budget line compared to the Budget Magnetic line. It might just be to do with the cost. Like, why else would they do that? Maybe it's just cheaper. But anyway, I'd recommend the QiYuan S2 if you're looking for a £7 4x4, but if you can afford to spend a bit more, then definitely upgrade to the QiYi MS 4x4, or better still, the MGC or LCWRM. Okay, so let's try this ridiculously annoying timer. Makes a really loud sound. Start properly.